All right, welcome. Today we are going to tackle something that I think almost everyone has faced, data chaos. And we're going to learn how to tame it with an amazing tool called Pandas. So let's just dive right in. You know that feeling, right? You open up a massive spreadsheet, maybe it's a CSV file with just thousands and thousands of rows, and your heart just sinks a little. You've got messy columns, you've got missing information, numbers that are weirdly formatted as text, and you're supposed to find some kind of answer in all of that. It honestly feels like you're drowning. Well, if that feeling sounds at all familiar, then I want you to meet your new best friend. This is the ToolKit, the life raft that's designed specifically to bring order to that chaos. It's a Python library, and it's called Pandas. So what is it really? Well, at its heart, Pandas is a library for the Python programming language. Think of a library as just a collection of pre-written code that makes your life easier. And it's built for one main purpose, to make working with labeled and relational data super simple. Now, that's just a fancy way of saying table-like data. You know, anything you'd normally stick in a spreadsheet. It is the go-to tool for pretty much every data scientist out there. So why is everybody using it? What gives it these superpowers? Well, for one, its main data structure, which we'll get to in a sec, is incredibly fast and efficient. It also has these built-in tools that can read almost any kind of data file you can throw at it. CSVs, Excel files, you name it. And that messy data problem we talked about, Pandas has some really elegant ways to handle missing values, which is probably the biggest headache in data. Best of all, it lets you mix everything together. Numbers, text, dates, all in one clean table. It just works. Okay, now I know this might sound a little complex, but here's the beautiful part. You can understand the entire power of Pandas by just starting with just two core building blocks. Once you get these, everything else just kind of clicks into place. So our first building block is called a series. And honestly, the absolute easiest way to think about a series is this. It's just a single column from a spreadsheet. That's it. It's a one-dimensional list of data. Could be a list of names, a list of temperatures, a list of prices. You get the idea. And making one is ridiculously simple. You just take a regular old list of data. Here we've got a list with A, B, C, and D, and you feed it into the Pandas series function. That's it. That one little command transforms your basic list into a way more powerful and intelligent Pandas series. And look what happens. This is what makes a series so special. You don't just get your data back. See those numbers on the left, 0, 1, 2, 3? Pandas automatically adds an index. Think of it like a label or an address for every single piece of data. This little feature is the key to everything else because it lets you find and work with your information with incredible speed. Okay, onto our second building block, and frankly, this is the star of the show. It's the data frame. So if a series is just a single column, a data frame is the entire spreadsheet. It's a two-dimensional table with both rows and columns, and it is what you are going to be working with 99% of the time you use Pandas. And here's a perfect example of what one looks like. It's clean, it's structured, we've got clear column headers like student name and class, and then each row is its own record, in this case for a single student. It should look instantly familiar to anyone who's ever opened a spreadsheet. So let's just put it all together one more time to make sure it sticks. A series, that's one-dimensional. It's just one column. A data frame, that's two-dimensional. It's the whole table. That's really the biggest distinction. It's the difference between a simple to-do list and a full-blown, super-powered spreadsheet. Okay, so we've got the building blocks. Now let's actually put them to work. What does a typical day using Pandas actually look like? Let's just walk through a really common workflow to see how this all comes together. Most of the time, you're going to follow these simple steps. First, you import your messy data right into a data frame. Then, you inspect it. You just take a quick peek at the first few rows to see what you're dealing with. Next up is cleaning, where you fix all the problems. Then comes the fun part, analysis. This is where you start sorting, filtering, and calculating to find those hidden insights. And finally, you can export your newly cleaned up data to a brand new file. Pandas makes every single one of these steps a breeze. Creating a data frame from scratch is also super intuitive. Probably the most common way to do it is to organize your data by column. So here you can see we're basically telling Pandas, hey, I've got a name column with these names in it, and I've got an age column with these ages. And then Pandas is smart enough to just stitch them together using your labels as the column headers. And boom, just like that, you get a perfect table. you can see how Pandas used our name and age labels for the columns, and it automatically added that helpful index on the left to keep everything perfectly aligned. Our data is now structured, it's easy to read, and it's totally ready for analysis. Now, this is a really cool way to think about how our two building blocks connect. You can actually think of a data frame as just a collection of series that are all glued together. That name column, that's one series. The age column, that's another series. And they both share that same index, 0 and 1, which is what keeps them in sync. It's a really simple but powerful idea. All right, we have covered a ton of ground, but we've really hit the core ideas of what makes Pandas so essential. So let's do a quick recap of the most important things you need to remember from all this. Okay, so if you remember anything from our little explainer today, make it this. Pandas is your #1 tool in Python for working with data tables, period. It's built on two core ideas, the series, which is like a single smart column, and the data frame, which is like an entire superpowered spreadsheet. If you can master those two ideas, you have a simple, repeatable way to import, inspect, clean, and analyze pretty much any data set that comes your way. So we'll leave you with this final thought. Learning a tool like Pandas isn't really about learning to code. It's about gaining the power to ask questions of your data and actually get clear answers back. It's all about satisfying your own curiosity. So the real question is, once you have the ability to structure and understand any data set, what secrets are you going to go uncover?